time that was noticed and posted for our work session. It's Wednesday, May the 3rd, 2023. It's 2:00 p.m. We're in the Board of Supervisors Executive Conference Room, Melody Lane, Bisbee. Any item on this agenda is open for discussion, and we begin with the roll call. District 1? District 1? Star 6.
Madam Chair, I do see that Supervisor Crosby is online. It looks like he is on hold currently.
Okay. District 2, Supervisor English is present. District 3? Ms. Judd, are you there? Well, let us know if you decide to join the meeting. So we'll move on since we don't need to take any actions today. So the matter of a quorum, we believe that they're hearing, they're just not responding. All right, members of the public may also attend this meeting by Microsoft Teams computer or mobile app, or by phone by calling 602-609-7513 or 888-680-6714. Conference ID 648-921-41#. If you have trouble accessing this meeting remotely, call 520-432-9200 for direction. Work sessions are a time for county staff to inform and discuss agenda items with the Board of Supervisors, and public comments will not be taken. Introductions, as always, so we have a complete record. Before you speak, give your name and your title so that the record can be complete as to who made the statements. We'd appreciate that. And before I hand this over to the county administrator, I want to personally say I'm sorry for not addressing this item when it was on the agenda, but I did not see it. And until I had convened the meeting, it was over. They said, oh, well, you didn't do the constable. And I said, I didn't even see it. So I'm sorry about that. So we had to reschedule. So, Mr. Karwachka, you have some opening remarks?
I do. So this is a sort of unique situation because we have two newly elected constables for Justice of the Peace Precincts 3 and 4. So first, congratulations on being elected. Because they are newly elected, there was no budget item for them placed in the budget for last year, which we're currently in. So that's why we have to have a work session to discuss what we can to include in the next fiscal year budget for their positions. Now, one of the categories or sections that their request has indicated is a salary. I'm currently going to send out and get more clarification from the county attorney's office. So at this point in time, we're not going to discuss the salary portion because there is some issues I think that we need to look at regarding the statute. But I think it is important for the public and the board to understand what each of the constables' positions, what they're going to be what their maybe anticipated workload, and what you need for that position. So, but that information regarding the salary, we should get by, I'd say, next week or two, which I will provide to each one of the constables. I will provide that information to the board, and we'll definitely have that before we even submit the tentative budget, so that everyone will be clear and on the same page. And this is some information that I just received this morning, so that's why, unfortunately, we don't have that ready for the board or to the constables at this moment in time. So given that, I would like to turn that over now to each of the constables to introduce themselves and to discuss more of what they would need to fulfill their positions support-wise from the county.
Okay, who's going to begin? Mr. Drummond?
Go ahead. Kevin Byer, Constable, Justice Precinct 4. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate your time to begin with. We're ready to go. We're just needing some items. That's it. We're discussed in the request. As soon as something gets approved, I know both of our caseloads are going to be there, and it's going to absolutely help out local law enforcement, sheriff's department in an immense way as far as their manpower, what they've been doing. From that, I'll pass it on to Constable Drummond.
Hey, John Drummond. I'm the constable with Benson Justice Precinct. Some of the things that we can take off of the deputies that are out there working and other law enforcement that's in the area to keep them on the road. If they arrest someone on a local warrant, we are empowered to take that person into our custody. A lot of times, failure to appear warrants, they're spending hours taking them before a judge and doing appearances or booking them. We'll primarily be working the same hours that the courts are. Therefore, we can hopefully free up space in the jail by taking the time to take them before the justice of the peace so that they can do their appearance and then they can be released back out. And that way they're not sitting in jail overnight. It's not costing the jail more money and having to feed them and house them. You also get an officer who just writes a quick report. I turned it over to this constable. We'll be on the same Spillman program that the sheriff's deputies are currently. And we can just write a quick supplement. My constable so-and-so picked up this suspect, took him before the judge and released him. So we can do our supplement right there, and it's already in their system. It'll save the deputies from having to mess around with it and do bookings and all that stuff. As far as experience, I'm an Arizona post-certified officer. I retired from DPS after 34 years, 37 years total law enforcement in Arizona. I'm also an instructor, AZ post-certified instructor. I've talked to also the sheriff about assisting a driving instructor for police driving at the college, and I understand they have a new driving track now too, so he's interested in discussing that with me and helping out there. So there's a lot of things that we can bring to the table. Kevin is a certified private investigator. He had several years with LAPD before that. We've talked to the sheriffs also about keeping our qualifications and certifications up with them. It should be, you're basically getting two guys with a lot of experience pretty cheaply. We just need to get equipped and get what we need so we can get rolling on this. We've saved the county money. We both have body armor already. We have outer vests, so if we have to do an eviction, we have something we can put on. The county's not going to have to come up with $1,000 per vest for body armor. We've got that covered. In the past, the only one that's really been able to do a lot of work has been Melissa in Sierra Vista. And we're hoping that we can supplement her when she needs some assistance. She won't have to call on law enforcement. She can call on us, and we can also go help her with evictions and things like that happen. Unfortunately, it's part of the job. A lot of people don't know what the constable is. I didn't know what a constable was until 3 years ago in Arizona, and I started looking at it, and then I talked to the constable who was working in Benson or holding the position in Benson, Mr. Finn. After speaking with him, I started looking into it. The judges also in the remote courts have a little bit of an issue where they only have one security officer at the entrance to the courts. When they're conducting court, usually that person is pulled off the front door, and then there's no one providing any security except in the courtroom itself. This isn't a real good, safe thing to do. I've talked to both Judge Ward and Judge Staggs. They'd be more than happy to have us come in so they can keep their court security staff on the door with the metal detectors where they really should be. We can act as bailiffs. We know the judges, we know the systems, we know the laws and what we can and cannot do in the court. And if the judge has an issue or needs some help with something or documents or whatever, we're right there to do that and maintain the court decorum. So we have an ability to do that on their days when they're conducting court. Additionally, as I stated earlier before the meeting began, Judge Stagg just informed me that he's up to 59 restraining orders and orders of protection that have been served so far this year just in Benson. And I'm not sure what Wilcox is up to right now, but it's not too far off that.
It's a little less. It's in the 40s.
But that's a lot of hours when you figure a deputy has to take that paper, and those got to be served pretty quick. So it's a lot of hours when you're pulling a deputy off the road who could be patrolling and doing other things. We can take that away from them, and you're saving a lot of time by having us out there being able to do that. What we're basically seeking is we need vehicles. We've talked to the sheriff just recently outside the door here. He's willing to help us get the vehicles equipped so we're on the same radio frequency as the deputies. We also would have access. He's got computers that he can set us up with for that. Once we get that up and rolling, we're safer. We do need portable radios. His budget is tight on that, so we need to get a couple portable radios. I think he did provide one to the Sierra Vista constable. She has one in case we need help when we're out. Other than that, I think we're looking at cell phones and county cell phones, and we're pretty much up and running. We're working on office space right now. I've got one set up already in Benson. He's going to work with the sheriff to get one at the sheriff's substation there in Wilcox. So we're trying to get things going. We've even come up with a patch with the county seal on it that looks nice. So it'll be presentable in case we have any formal things we need to.
Well, you were elected some time ago. Have you done any constabling since then?
We haven't yet because we're trying to wait till we have the equipment and stuff. I can't do it safely right now. I don't think it's real safe to pull up to somebody's house in a personal vehicle and not having a badge. It took us 3 months to get badges. We had to purchase our own. We're trying to keep them the same as the constable in Sierra Vista so that the style is similar so everybody looks uniform. So we needed badges, ID cards, things like that. So it's taken a little while to get things going. We're still waiting on the patches to come in, but I think we're just about at the point where we get up and run some vehicles and get the equipment we need.
I noticed that Ms. Judd has, so let the record show that Ms. Judd is present at the work session now.
Thank you. I was in another room. I don't know how I got into the wrong room, but I did.
I don't know, do we have,
Supervisor Crosby's indicated that he's here. Is that correct, Mr. Maddox?
Supervisor Crosby, can you speak or you want to ask any questions?
He was also in that other room as well as Jane Montgomery. And he left before I did, so I don't know if he made it into here.
Executive session room that didn't exist.
Okay. I wonder if it was the previous meeting, were you guys in the previous meeting?
Maybe. 3 of us managed to get in there, so we thought we were okay, which was weird.
I've been here since Mr. Karwatska was talking at the beginning of the meeting. Do you hear me?
Okay,
perfect. Oh, you're on a phone. Okay.
So thank you. Let the record show that. And I think both of you have heard the information from Mr. Drummond, I believe, gave the most information. Did you have any questions or comments about what you heard?
No, I didn't, and I'm just in the middle of nowhere, and that's why I'm looking at my county computer, but it is not showing the conference room.
But do you have any questions about the constable?
No, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Judd?
I don't. I was given quite a good overview of what was going on and what needed to, what their desires were, and I am interested in seeing the actual paperwork and things that they come up with, but I don't have that in front of me yet. I was just worried about getting in the meeting with you all. So I don't really have any questions right now. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it sounds as though that some of the things that they ask us for, there's a possibility that we could not do, and one of them is salary, and that's going to be looked into. The other things they asked the board for, in an earlier meeting, the sheriff was here, and he said that he hadn't spoken with them, but he would. And so he is going to be able to fulfill some of the things that they're asking for. And so I think at this point in time, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're asking for is a salary if possible. You're asking for radios because you don't know if you'll get those or not.
Yes, ma'am. Those would be portable radios that we can carry.
Portable, okay. And you're asking for, I believe the sheriff mentioned laptops that he has or tough books.
Yes, he said he could provide those.
Okay. So you need a phone, a county phone, and office equipment, and that's kind of nebulous. We'll see what that might boil down to. Is that correct where we are right now?
We have the computers. We're both pretty good at scavenging. I think we can come up with printers that we might need, or we might be able to use the court's printers.
Okay.
So we may be able to.
If I can interrupt here for a second, if somebody comes in, let's just say off the street in one of our courts and wants to file a restraining order, or a landlord needs an eviction filed, there has to be some way of printing out documents at an office and giving the customers, let's sort of say, a receipt. So there would need to be some kind of a printer in an office.
And we could definitely work on that and figure out the logistics once we.
Yeah, I don't think they need to be anything large. I think a smaller, simple one will be more than adequate.
Okay, well, I was trying to narrow down what your requests were at this particular point in time so that will be part of the record moving forward. Because today isn't a decision time anyway. It's just looking at the request and did Karen, you have any questions?
There is a line for fleet, and that's not the actual vehicle, but rather the gas and the maintenance of the vehicle would need to be added to their budget.
Okay. So it looks like we've got fleet, radios, some office equipment, and a telephone.
And I thought of something else, Chairman English.
Yes.
I think I was wondering if there's training or anything. That seems to be included in everybody's budgets. And I wonder if the constables have sort of an association or a conference they go to or something. Might be good to kind of have a heads up on that. And then I personally, this is sort of a new adventure for our county, and they're both in my district servicing my consumers. And I would really appreciate knowing that they were trained and what level they were at, if that is something they have available to them. So I wouldn't expect it to be excessive, but surely the state has things for constables, and I would be interested in hearing about that.
I think you heard Mr. Drummond say he's a trainer.
Yeah,
He is
So-
a trainer, huh?
you may have made it in a little late. I'm an Arizona Post certified peace officer training instructor. I've talked to Mark about keeping my certification up, so I will be able to do that through them. I'll be able to use the advanced officer training through his department. Both of us will keep our firearms qualifications up, and any other firearms training we need with that. Both of us have been on long enough and old enough. We know about liability, so it's obviously a concern. Luckily, we both know how to talk to people pretty well, and we're not banny roosters like a new kid getting out of the academy, and we want to go out and roll around in the dirt with people. We're too old for that. We will be keeping our training up. We did both attend the week-long Arizona Constable Association training that was in Tubac. We are both members of the Arizona Constable Association, so we are receiving our notifications from them. They're still working things with the legislature, I believe, at the state level to tweak the position a little bit to where we get more training. And I think everybody's pretty much for that. Other than that, a lot of the constables, about 50%, I would say at least, are retired police officers in Arizona that were certified. The other ones are kind of new, so they're trying to work up different training opportunities for those people so they know a little bit more about what they're dealing with when they come out here. We're fairly certain with it, and both of us are planning on being longtime county residents. I've been here since I was 6 with a short 10-year stint in Casa Grande. Other than that, I've been in this county since I was 6 years old, so I'm not going anywhere.
I've only been here for 16 years in this county, so don't hold that against me. And also, Ms. Judd, the constable training is paid for by the association on a yearly basis.
Okay.
They foot the bill for that.
The firearms training and things like that, we understand that the Sheriff's Department budgets for things like ammunition and stuff like that, so we'll chip in and handle that ourselves, but we will piggyback their firearms training, so we're all on the same page.
Very good. Thank you.
Tom, you have any questions now?
Can you still hear me, Madam Chair?
I can hear you perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. I just one question. Does Mr. Byer and Mr. Drummond currently have a county email account where I can email them?
This is Sharon Gilman. They do currently have county email accounts. They've been given volunteer accounts, for lack of a better system right now, but they do have county accounts.
John Drummond, I'm not
Okay,
set
that's
up
fine.
on mine yet, but I'm going to try to get that worked out today while I'm down here.
Okay, well, it sounds like from Ms. Gilman that I can email you, so that's all I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
You have anything to add, Rich?
No, and I think we talked before, and as you guys get set up and start actually getting the volume from the court, like creating your logs and then being able to present those to the board going forward. And so I think we have a good foot going forward, and we'll clarify some issues and get you what you need to start going.
And they have the expectation that you'll get back with them as soon as you have legal clarification about the salary issue.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And then I know you spoke with the sheriff, so we can keep working on that conversation, working on that equipment.
And also, if I may add, there is a backlog on AZ Point right now.
Okay.
So, I mean, Melissa's trying to do her best, but, you know, when she's doing a great job in that area, but there are some other precincts that there's a backlog.
The good thing is we can also work in adjacent precincts under the law. So I can help him in precinct 4. I can help her in precinct 5. I can help the deputy who's doing the rest of the precinct since there's no one to do it. He's very backlogged. We also had an issue we were discussing with probation officers. They're so short-handed. They've been doing searches by themselves. Since it's a function of the court, the probation department we would be able to go with a probation officer and not have to tie up another one of their officers when they have to go search a probationer's residence or something like that. So they're not doing it alone. It's a matter of time before it's just not safe.
Okay.
So we'll be able to assist there too, and they're kind of chomping at the bit to get us out there.
Okay. That's
And
all.
you're waiting to go to work till you get the things that you asked for in the budget.
Right, because if I need to call for help, I need to be able to have something to call for help on and not dial a phone.
Well, both of us have been in law enforcement for so long that we're seasoned enough to know that you don't enter a situation by yourself, and it's nice to have good backup. So safety is the utmost concern here, as well as
The last thing we want is a situation happening like happened to Pima County. You had unfortunately a constable who was not trained very well, was an appointed person, and she wasn't prepared to go into the situation she was. We're ahead of that. We've seen enough problems over our years to make sure that everybody's safe.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's nothing to add to the record, then I need to tell the board that Tuesday, May the 9th, 10 o'clock, Board of Supervisors hearing room, we have a regular board meeting, which will be our next meeting. So having said that, meeting adjourned.